Starting.
Yo, so it is, what's this, season 2, Cash?
Season 2,
Season
heat
2?
check. You already
Heat
know.
check. Designated
Bow.
report, heat check. We are back. We are back for season 2, man.
Back.
Super excited. We made some changes for this year, but same energy, same everything. It's me. I'm your boy Johnell, and I'm here with my guy Matt Price, Cash
Yes,
Walk-in.
sir.
How are you
Yes.
feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great, man. New father, got new challenges, but new beginnings, all blessings, man. It's really all been great. I'm ready to get this work in, talk about some hoops, man. That's it. You know I love
How
it.
how's baby Cash treating you?
Baby Cash is good, man. He doing what babies do. He eats, he poops, he sleeps. He's doing all those things at a high level. The
He's
other day,
executing
yo,
at
it's
a
like
high level.
I changed him. We were feeding him, we changed him, and then he finished like eating, and he pooped again while he was eating.
Yo,
Oh,
that sounds
man,
about right, man.
high level.
Yo, that's all you can ask for. He's gonna be a future athlete. So whatever he's gonna do, you want him to perform at a high level at whatever
Absolutely,
he's doing.
absolutely. I'll be massaging his hamstrings like what's his name did Spike at Little Giants. He try to go D1.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get right into it. It's Wednesday the 19th, so we already had two games last night. We saw the Celtics beat the Sixers in the early
Yes.
game, and we saw Golden State beat the Lakers in the late game. Um, let's start with the Eastern Conference game. Do you have any big takeaways from that Boston Philly game?
So my takeaways from that game so far are that Boston has not really missed a step. They had a slow start, but they haven't really missed a beat. And that Malcolm Brogdon is a much bigger pickup to that team than anybody made. It happened quietly over the summer. It was like, oh
Yes.
yeah, they got Malcolm Brogdon to add to a roster of guys that were just in the finals that they didn't lose anyone.
Yep.
I mean, Robert Williams is out with the injury. You know, Coach Ime Udoka is going through what he's going through, but everybody else is back in that building, and they really hit the ground running last night. So my takeaway really from it is more about the Sixers. The 76ers, James Harden looked good. I want to say that.
He did.
Joel Embiid, he looked strong too. There, he's getting to the line a lot and everything like that. Tyrese Maxey, I want to see them work him in more and give him his own shining moments a little bit more. It's they were doing a little two-man game. He's playing off the ball of Harden and catching and shooting, but I want to have him get his, have him get a bite at the apple, so to speak, and have his chance to shine in that offense.
So that's the thing, and I do want to get back to Boston, but it's going to be tough. I mean, we know that James Harden, he's going to have to change his game a little bit in order for this team to be good. He played well last night, like you mentioned, but the ball is going to be dominated largely by Embiid and Harden.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you. Like, he really needs to be able to get his touches. It's really on Doc to figure out how they do that, how they integrate him, and how they do it seamlessly, because they've got a very solid, I don't trust them, but they have a very solid team roster wise. Yeah. And if they're able to work him into something like some kind of flow,
he's such a different pace for that team, because that is so isolation to dominant. Even Tobias Harris, in the first half, Tobias Harris played well, and it was because he was getting these isolations, these putbacks, and kind of just playing through the flow of the game. And James Harden, same thing. He's able to do his thing, but he was playing a little faster too. And Embiid, he's your guy, so you give it to him and say, "Go get us a bucket." But Tyrese Maxey is in that group of guys on that team. For me, when I watch him, I see very dynamic scorer, can score at all three levels. He's a great finisher. He makes his free throws. He's starting to hit the three now. So I'm like, Doc need to figure out a way to get him, some more touches too. Not just with that second unit, when the starters are out there too, so the pressure's off.
Do we trust Doc?
Sag off James Harden, because you're trying to throw a double. What's that?
Do we trust Doc is my question.
Do I trust Doc? I really I want to trust Doc because he's a championship coach, right? And look how many teams he's had over the last decade that have been right there. So then that tells me, do I trust Doc like we're doing? Like those Clippers teams were so good. There were some teams that he had that were so good. Even now, when you're looking at these Philadelphia teams, like this is year 3 for Doc there, and this is a really good team that if he puts all the pieces that they brought in together right, they brought in Montrez, they brought in D'Anthony Melton, 2 great pickups in the offseason that fit what you think they're trying to do there. It's about them actually putting it together on the floor and making the adjustments when other people make the adjustments. They were leading at halftime, and then it fell apart in the second half.
Exactly.
And I mean, you can't give up 35 points to 2 guys either. That's not going to help you.
So just jumping back to Boston really quick, you mentioned Robert Williams, who that's going to be huge. I know the Celtics were talking, I think earlier this week, maybe even today, about how the team is going to be better because they're not playing with him right now. And once he comes back, let me rephrase. The team is going to be better off for this team without him, because once he comes back, he will provide a spark. He will provide a lift to that roster. But with that said, you mentioned Ime as well. This is a team that went to the finals last year, obviously.
Yep.
Does them having a rookie coach, how does that affect their chances in the East, and then ideally in the playoffs, in the finals, hopefully moving forward?
So what's his name? Joe Mazzulla. He was in the building, so he knows the program. These guys were all there, and honestly, we know it's the Celtics, bro. They have the most championships, are tied most championships for every team in the NBA. So the expectation there is always going to be you got to win a championship. So everybody
100%.
there already knows it. So I don't think Ime not being there is going to make that big a difference. As far as on the court with Robert Williams being out, to me, bro, that speaks to the rim protection. They don't have Grant Williams is subbing in for him, and Al Horford. I saw you tweet last night. He's still here. Like he's still here. So I mean, but is he going to give you the 82? Or they say what Williams supposed to be out 3-4 months. So. Is he going to give you that rim protection out to be having to defend Joel Embiid's and Giannis's and all these guys every night when he would normally just be giving you 15 minutes? So I think it's going to affect them down the stretch because it affects their depth. It would be one thing if this wasn't a veteran team. This is a veteran team with a splash of youth. They're going to have to find a way, maybe through the trade deadline or something to kind of fill that void until Rob gets back.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that the team is better off without him. Like they probably will struggle. They are going to struggle against an Embiid or a Giannis or so, like the bigs in the East.
Yeah.
But they also don't necessarily need to be a 1-2 seed. If they get in, if they're able to weather the storm and they can get in as ideally like a 4 seed. And get Robert Williams back, they're going to be in good shape, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it. That's true. That's true. I think that, just like I said, it's the rim protection, and can Al Horford really, stand this grind at this point in his career? He's supposed to be a spots minutes backup center. So can he struggle? Like whether being able to get all the way, playing starter minutes all the way until January. We're talking about February, All-Star break, really. And when Rob comes back to take his spot, that's the real big question. And can they defend the rim? Because they're a good defensive team.
Yes.
Everybody, they play good defense all together. They have one great individual defensive player, and I think that's Marcus Smart. And then on the back end, they got Rob Williams, who's not there. So we'll have to see. We got to see. I'm curious, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that. So if we jump over to the Western Conference, we saw Golden State. Ooh. They got their rings. So they were coming out fired up, and they had they're hosting LeBron and the Lakers, AD, Russ, Patrick Beverly, all those boys. And it really wasn't competitive at all. What would you take away from that? Is it more how good Golden State is and they're going to be, or is it where the Lakers are currently?
we're always talking about where the Lakers are, so I'm going to go to how good Golden State can be. That's what I want to focus on. They played 10 guys last night, first of all. The depth is ridiculous.
Yep.
Their young guys are meeting with the older guys, and it's all making sense. It's crazy. When this run started for them, Stephen, Clay, and Draymond were the young guys with Barbosa and Iguodala and all those veterans on that team. And now they're the older guys with Moody and Kuminga and Wiseman and Poole. And Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins not even 30 years old yet.
Yes.
You know, so they all are signed. They're all there. The ball movement, the player movement, the screens they play for each other. All this, I mean, it's crazy. You know, I don't know if we're gonna bring it up later, but I might as well bring it up now. All the questions on the internet about chemistry and whether or not Draymond and Poole can play together, it just flows. That offense is the most beautiful thing in basketball right now.
Okay, and we definitely do have to touch on that Draymond Jordan Poole situation.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. We'll get back around that.
But on my end, I truly do think it's the Lakers. The common theme or like the thought every year is that the team that LeBron starts with is not the team that he's going to end with. And obviously
definitely not ending with this.
Yeah, throughout the off season, the preseason, the conversation has been about Russell Westbrook. And it's so hard to watch. I don't even want to say how far he's fallen, but at least in the media, social media, like the perception is he's just a terrible player, terrible athlete, can't do anything on the floor. While I don't believe that's true, I do believe to kind of your point, there is a chemistry issue. Like whatever that is and whatever it means for that team, he just doesn't gel. His style of play, his pace of play, he's very ball dominant, when in his years at OKC and, he had the ball. It was him. He was distributing, but very ball dominant.
Yeah.
And he's not that in LA.
He can't be that on this team. Like, bro, you're not LeBron.
Yes.
And you're not going to make LeBron change the way he plays to play with you. And
exactly.
It's just stubbornness at this point. You could win a championship if you go on the offseason and stop doing drives and layups and start working on your corner three. That's all he should have been working on for the last 2 seasons in the offseason. Corner three. Catch, shoot. Catch a kickoff from AD when he gets a double. Catch a kickoff from LeBron when the freight train is going down the middle of the lane. Sit out there in the corner. And then you'll get your 2-man games with AD. You'll get your one-on-one opportunities. But you got to find a way to stay on the court. I'm looking at the numbers. He played 31 minutes last night. 7 of 12, not bad. 19 points, not bad. 1 of 3 from 3. 11 rebounds and just 3 assists. Now, that to anybody else in the league, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a great stat line. That's a great night. He shot above 50%. He had 19 points and 11 rebounds. Like, what more do you want from me? When you're making $45 million, that's that the fans are gonna expect more of you. And when you're playing alongside LeBron James and AD, they're going to expect more of you when you're expected to be that third guy to help them make a championship push. And typically that third guy has to be the guy who sacrifices and who changes his game. Like how Chris Bosh went from being a 26-point per game scorer to Miami, a 2-time champion now, who was basically just an anchor of the defense and a rebounder and, and score every now and then. You got to change your game if you want to win.
So let me ask you this. You read off the numbers. Russell, he played well last night. They lost the game, obviously, but he played well. Is it too early? We had all the turmoil in the offseason. Is it too early to count out the Lakers, to count out Russ? Do you think he's out of town? How do you think this pans out?
I think that the approach first for them is going to be to get some depth on the bench because their bench was absolutely dreadful last night.
They need it.
I don't even want to read you the numbers because it's awful. But there's only one player who actually really made baskets, and it was Kendrick Nunn. Everybody else was horrible. Go get Carmelo Anthony, but I digress. That's going to be their first thing that they do is to get some veteran help on the bench. Maybe they go out there and get Eric Gordon. They need shooting, like real shooting, not guys who can make shots. They need a guy like Eric Gordon who can shoot. Maybe you could put him in that second unit with Russ and Kendrick Nunn, and and run that way or something like that. They could use some better wing defense and wing help. How serious are these guys in the front office, Rob Pelinka? How serious are they about getting LeBron another real shot at this? Or are you just going to say, hey, I got you AD, and there's some guys, that should be enough? I don't think it is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. And I know last year I called them the geriatrics last year because of how old they were. But I think it's a combination of age, yes, but also, to your point, just lack of depth. Like they've got to have somebody outside of LeBron and AD. If it's going to be that second unit, I know Russ doesn't want to come off the bench, but they need somebody. LeBron has 8 million, minutes on his legs. You know what I'm saying? Like he averaged 30 points last year, but you can't at some point, we saw the commercial. At some point, Father Time is going to catch up with LeBron. I don't know. I don't know if it's this year. I don't know if it's next year or 5 years from now.
35 minutes last night. Another 35 minutes.
Yes. And, it's early in the season. You need LeBron in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You need him the second half of the season. You're not trying to burn him out now. So depth is, I think, my biggest thing with the Lakers right now. I truly think another year in the system, they can figure out the whole Russell Westbrook thing. I don't think he's finished. I don't think he's done. I think he has a lot more in the tank. But
just the way he plays, his energy alone, it tells you that this guy can do stuff on the basketball court. He can do something. Whether it's you turn him into a defensive specialist, he does have big, broad shoulders. He's skinny, but he's a big guy. He's got length. He can defend. Fine. Somebody got to sit him down, and I'm sure somebody's explained to him, but somebody's got to really tell him. Darvin Ham's a championship-winning coach now. He should be taking those cues, whatever he says. I don't know if they've had this conversation yet, but that is the conversation that needs to be had. What is it that you think you could do best to make this team a championship contender? Because the West is only getting better, man.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about that too.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
And they're going to catch up to LeBron sooner than, you take a year and a year and a year trying to put something together for him. And by then, like, look, the Warriors was down 2 years, and then so were the Lakers.
Yep.
And they won a championship in that time. But like you had your chance. Dame was out last year. All these things happen.
Let me ask you this. The Lakers, you say, teams are going to catch up to the Lakers. They weren't great last year. They weren't great the year before. They won the championship in the bubble, obviously.
Yeah.
Where do you have the Lakers ranked in the West right now?
In the West right now, they're like 10th. That's where I have them, like 9th or 10th. Because I have to give, the Clippers, they're gonna be back. If Kawhi's healthy, they're gonna be back. The roster's better.
Yep.
And then Portland has a nice little something there, but really the team that's gonna really rise up the farthest is New Orleans.
Yes.
That's the team that usurps them, like jumps way past them. And then you gotta look at Sacramento too. Sacramento's made all the moves. They picked up Kevin Huerter. Excuse me. They brought in a lot of guys. They made their trades to get in position for this right here to make this push for the playoffs.
Yep.
So that's just two teams right there. And you got to think that, maybe somebody who was at the top falls off a little bit. Utah maybe falls off. So, I mean, it leaves a spot for the Lakers to still get in, but who are they going to pass? So I'm thinking it's going to be the bottom of the conference.
I do think it's going to be the bottom of the conference. I don't think I have them as low as like 9, but they're down there in my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, with the team constructed as it is, not taking into account injuries or anything like that. I mean, I probably have them in like that 6-7 range. You know, like they're definitely not a top half of the Western Conference. Is basically what
not
it's
at all.
coming down to.
Because you could almost run those teams off like really fast off your head because you know who the best teams are. You're just like right away. You're just like Denver, Phoenix,
Golden State.
Dallas, Golden State, and then Memphis now. And then like that's when you get after the Memphis, you get into the New Orleans and maybe Portland's and the maybe like all. There's just so many teams for them now to contend with. So it's gonna be it's gonna be a tough ride for the Lakers, man.
They
got LeBron James, so they're gonna win games. But what is gonna be left of him and Anthony Davis at the end of that grind, having to go every night hard, fighting for a win?
Yo, that video of Anthony Davis playing 2K and immediately getting hurt, is that real? Like, was he playing?
That can't be true. It can't. It can't be real.
Yo, I saw that. I was crying when I saw that.
It can't be real. I was like, this dude made a styrofoam, yo.
So you mentioned New Orleans, and again, we're gonna get more into them a little bit later. But the big thing, we have Zion Williamson coming back. He opens up tonight, if I'm not mistaken, against Brooklyn. What are we thinking about Zion? Because I have my feelings. I feel like I've been very vocal about him, but I think everybody's excited for him to be back. What are you expecting from him this season?
I'm expecting full-blown Zion, the one we've been waiting for. I'm expecting above 26 points a game. I'm expecting him to lead the charge for them, but without needing isolations every play, catching alley-oops, doing everything. And I expect him to be also on, kind of like a pitch count at the end, but at the beginning of the season. But at the end of the season, I think he's going to be hitting full tilt down the stretch, and he's going to be the reason that they're like a top 5 seed out west. If he's healthy, Ingram and McCollum, to me, they all fit together. All their games work together so well, and nobody's going to be taken away from anybody. Everybody's game adds to the other person's game. So, when it comes to Zion, that's what I'm looking for. I'm expecting, like I said, at least above 25 a game, just because of the dominance that he could play with. He's going to be shoulder down, shoulders in your chest, playing in transition, which that team likes to do a lot because they got, defensive guys like Jose Alvarado who get up, get the break started. New Orleans, man, sneaky team.
Yeah. So I've definitely been critical of Zion, and we're not here to fat shame or anything like that.
He looks good though now.
No, he looks great. He came in. Yeah. He's definitely been working on himself, working on his body.
Sure.
But my critique through high school and his brief time at Duke was just his body size. And again, like, not trying to fat shame or anything like that. It's just
for the sport, it's not typical. Yeah,
exactly. When he's that big, that explosive, inevitably you're going to have issues with your knees and your feet and your things like things like that. So the fact that he's slimmed down, I think that will help with how explosive he is. It doesn't look like he's gotten any less strong. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like he's going to have any issues banging bodies or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the brief moments that we've got to see Zion play, he's been incredible. And my hope is just that he can stay on the court. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So I'm with you. I think he should be on a pitch count. I know the fans aren't going to love it. I know the NBA is not going to love it. But we want to see Zion, second half of the season. We want to see him in the All-Star game. We want to see him then.
Playoffs, yeah. That's what I want to see. I want to see Zion catching all that alley-oops, and Kevin Harlan like, everything. That's what I want to see. I want to see Zion in April, Zion in May. That's what we want.
Exactly. So we go from Zion, who had, he had the foot fracture, he tore his meniscus. Let's jump over to somebody else in the Western Conference, Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is finally back for the Denver Nuggets. I'm excited, man, because the last time we really saw him play was the bubble. You know,
Yeah.
he
When
came back.
Exploded.
That was his coming out party. He played incredible. And then, you know, the next year tears his ACL, and we really haven't seen him. The Joker's been carrying that team. Like, they haven't really lost a step, but at the same time, I feel as though having Jamal Murray back, you know, at the helm running that offense, it's going to make a world of difference.
It's going to be so huge for them.
So, you know, how does his return, again, he'll probably be on a pitch count as well. I know he's been out, I think, since April of 2021. So it's more, you know, it's a year and a half or whatever it is, which is probably right around the amount of time that you need to return from an ACL.
Right.
Do you expect him to be on a pitch count, or do you think he's going to be full tilt from the jump?
I think that they might temper him back early on in the year, because they got a lot of, they're deep at guard. They got, you know, Bones Highland. They brought in Ish Smith, I think. So they got a lot of guards that they can bring in to play, you know, some of the minutes throughout the game for him. I think he'll close and, you know, and be there in the moments where they need him. But, you know, that's how I think it'll start. As far as expectations for Denver and what impact I think he's going to have on that team, we were just talking about, like, Zion. Zion makes the Pelicans legitimate, you know, just a legitimate Western Conference opponent team.
Yes.
Jamal Murray makes them, especially with Michael Porter Jr. coming back too, he makes them finals contenders, in my opinion.
I agree.
It changes everything about it. It's not just give it to Joker and everybody start moving around and now you got another guy to distribute. You got somebody to give it to Joker.
Yep.
You know, and who can get his own basket too. So imagine what that's going to mean for him. Not to say that he's not conditioned, but imagine what that's going to be for him in April when they're, 50 plus wins or whatever, probably. And he feels good. He doesn't have the banging and the bruising from having to run everything and bring the ball up the court.
Everything
for that team. So, I mean, look, he makes them finals contenders, because that's another guy who could give you 20 plus points per game. And I mean, it just takes anything that takes the pressure off a two-time MVP so that he can play with a little more energy, a little more free, or just even get some more rest so that you have him later in the season when you need him. It can't be bad. It's going to be real. It's going to pay off real well for them.
I agree. I'm with you totally on that. I'm excited to see. Again, I do think he's going to be on a pitch count, but once he's like up to game speed and, you know, kind of gets his legs back under him, I think that team's going to be really fun to watch.
I mean, Clay even talked about last night how he's on on minutes restriction right now, and he played in the finals, you know. So everybody, it's better to be cautious early on in the season especially with these kind of teams that they got finals dreams, the Denver Nuggets. So
100%.
You don't want anything stupid to happen where it sets this guy back, and now you're in a worse position than you want to be.
Yes. And speaking of worse positions, let's go to another injury in the West. Kawhi, the Claw.
Yes.
He didn't play all last year.
Now,
ACL as well.
Yep.
And we know Kawhi from San Antonio. You're not going to bully him into playing until he's ready to play, right?
He's got to feel 120%. 100% not good enough.
Yeah. So Kawhi's back. The Clippers picked up John Wall. How are we feeling about Kawhi being back and being healthy? How does he affect that team and that team's success?
Kawhi, I mean, obviously they got a lot of talent there on that roster. Kawhi makes them a real threat as well. He makes them a team that they have a closer. They have that guy. They have Paul George, but now you have that guy who really is all game long. You need a basket. You're 4 possessions without a score. You need to get something in the mid range. Give it to Kawhi. Let him go to work. You're at the end of the game. You just blew a 10-point lead. Teams storming back. Give it to Kawhi. He can stop that run. That is what he provides you. And there's only 15 of those guys in the league.
15 is generous. I don't think there's that many.
I don't even think there's 15 exactly. Like, there's 10 of those guys, and Kawhi is one of them. That you could just say, give him the ball, say, yo, go get me a bucket. And that's what you get with him, So It's all just like it was about so many people we talked about today. It's all about the health. Can he stay healthy? Will he feel 120% all year? Because if he does, again, that's another team I'm putting in the top half of the Western Conference. They could easily win that division. They could easily challenge the Phoenixes, challenge the Golden States. They have the length, they have the shooting, they have the youth, they got the veterans, they got everything. So it's really about that team just staying healthy. I cannot remember a moment in this entire experience with Paul George and Kawhi that they've been healthy together.
Yeah. No, you're 100. Yeah, you're 100% right.
I don't remember. Like, what have they played together? Have they played in the playoffs together? Was that when Kawhi got hurt? I don't remember.
I feel like they played together in the bubble.
Okay.
And then last
right?
year,
that was the first year, the bubble year.
Yeah. Okay. And that was the year that Jamal Murray went off.
Yes.
Against them. So yeah, I can't remember if they made the playoffs in 2021, but no, they've definitely played together, and they've played well together. Paul George and Kawhi. So yeah, I guess at this point we're just it's a few years in the system. Obviously Kawhi didn't play last year, but we'll really just have to see how it comes together. We'll have to see how that knee holds up. And again, like you said, they're loaded top to bottom. So
yeah, because he hurt his knee. It was like a non-contact injury. He really just like it was kind of like he stepped the wrong way or something like that. So you really want to. That's what I'm really keeping an eye on is that how that knee? How is it? Is it all right? It feels good. Like that's what I really want to know.
Like I said, I don't think Kawhi would be back if he wasn't, if he wasn't feeling 120% like you're saying. So, but again, it's one thing to be in, 3-on-3s and 5-on-5s in practice with your teammates. It's another thing to be on a court with, a bunch of other dudes who are trying to beat you.
To react, right? Yeah. And guys try to get after you. Guys, you're going to have to react and just play basketball, which is, and change the direction. How is that? Try to hit a Euro step, all that. I don't know how these guys don't tear more ACLs than Euro step.
I agree.
That like hurt. Like sometimes they hit it like, I'm like,
So there's one more person who's going to be back that I want to touch on, who was injured most of the season last year. And that's Mr. Dame Lillard. Not a knee, not a foot. It was an abdominal issue or abdominal injury.
Very strange.
Obviously, if you can't do much of anything if your core is messed up. We're hoping he's back 100%. But is he good? He's coming back to a team. He doesn't have CJ McCollum anymore. Everything is going to be on his shoulders for all intents and purposes. Do we see the Blazers as an actual contender? Or is he just there to, for lack of a better word, pad his stats, stay loyal to the city of Portland? Are we really him coming back?
Doing. All the stuff he's been doing.
But him coming back, how does that change the standings in the West, or does it change anything?
So, I'm looking at the roster right now. They got a nice roster. They do have a nice roster. They picked up Jeremy Grant. They got Josh Hart. They got they got Dame. They got Yusuf Nurkic, Gary Payton. They got in free agency, and they drafted that kid Shaedon Sharpe in the draft, who I really really like a lot. A lot of the talent evaluators like him too. And the thing is, he don't have CJ anymore, but I actually like the kid that they play in there for him now, Anthony Simons. I like him better.
I like him too.
He scores in bunches, just like CJ, and he's a little bit more of a more explosive type of guard. Like he can get off the ground and dunk and do all that stuff. So I like the roster. We've been talking about the depth of the West all day, man. Like, if they get anywhere, it's gonna have to be because Dame is playing at a level. At the level that we've seen him play at, because he's been able to carry them through the West several times before.
That's very true.
And so I will say this: He's got a good enough roster. There's good enough pieces, complementary pieces around him. Jeremy Grant's going to give you 18 to 20 a game. Josh Hart give you another 14. Eubanks is a real good rebounding forward. They got Nasir Little, another dynamic forward and wing. Yusuf Nurkic, rim protector. I like all these guys. They got a good roster. What Dame does is going to tell me what they do.
Okay, that's fair
so,
enough.
do I think that they can push to the West? Sure. If Dame Dames.
Yeah.
Because weren't they like a 2 seed one year?
Yeah, no, they've had very good, like, I don't want to say surprisingly good years, but surprisingly good years. You know, like when you look at that team in the roster, and yeah, I mean, so I like that. If Dames, they're going to be right in the mix.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know how else to put it. If Dames, they're going to be all right.
So the biggest story in the NBA of the last 2 weeks was we started to hear about Jordan Poole and Draymond Green getting into it, and it kind of it came and it went. Everybody heard about it, like, damn, like these guys are arguing in practice, blah blah blah, but it kind of went away and that was it. The next thing we know, TMZ gets their grubby little fingers on a video and they drop it, and it's a bombshell on the internet. It goes viral, and we see Draymond get into Jordan Poole's face. Jordan Poole kind of pushes him off. Next thing you know, Draymond comes in with a right, punches him. He goes to the ground. Jordan Poole goes to the ground. Players, coaches, they come over, they kind of break it up, and that's when the video ends.
Yeah.
So since then, there's been a fallout. Draymond, he's had to answer questions on it. Yesterday, during the game or right before the game, had a whole segment about it, interviewing Draymond on what happened and the family and the chemistry and the whole, like, what are we taking from this? Golden State gave, after the incident, gave Jordan Poole an extension. Draymond Green's been asking for money, showed up last night to opening night in his money green suit. They did not extend him. He doesn't have a new contract. He's got to wait. Are we reading anything into what's going on in Golden State? We know they beat the Lakers last night, but is there drama in the Bay that we should be worried about?
Look, man, if I got punched like that, and you know what the question I asked last night? I won't even start like that. Here's how I would have started. If everybody's saying it's all good and everything like that, because this kid is young and we don't really know. If he punched Clay like that or Steph like that, like, we get they argue and everything, but if he punched one of those veteran guys like that, are we reacting the same way? Are we just gonna like move on? Like, oh, they must be cool.
Bro,
because
he'd be off the squad, man.
Exactly. And I think that's what it is. I think the team is they're downplaying it so that he doesn't take it as serious. I don't know. Jordan wants to win. He got paid. He obviously wants to win. Draymond wants to win. We all know that. Everybody wants to win, and winning ultimately will silence everything. Yep. But if I talk to Bob Myers in my exit interview and he's asking me, well, we got you for the future, what are you looking for? I can't play with Draymond. Even if we win the finals, I can't be in a practice with a guy like that. I can't come to work in an environment like that where we get into discussions and dude's arguing with me and he punched me in my face.
Yeah.
And even though I was on the side, I said, Jordan Poole, you got to keep your hands up because, he wasn't coming over there to have a chat.
Yeah.
I get it's work and everything like that, and you don't expect a dude to punch you in the face in a professional environment. Yep. But, Draymond was stepping in a manner that he was not coming over there to just get in your face and say, oh, all right, young buck. No, he was coming to do something to you. So, that's that whole thing. I think that it has to divide the team in some way because the team is divided, like I said, without even saying, because there's older guys and there's younger guys. So the guys who are, Moody and Kuminga and these guys, they probably rock with Jordan Poole. They're all 21, 22, 23. Yep. They probably rock. What are they thinking now? Like, damn, Draymond better not never put his hands on me. I swear to God, if Draymond touched me, I'm telling you, I'm not going. Like, that is a private conversation I'm sure these guys are having. And On the court, they're machines. They're gonna do what they gotta do on the court to play basketball, winning basketball. But I'm telling you, if there's a game where the shooting ain't working out right and things are looking, kind of different, and it's a rough night for them, and Draymond's got it, and Poole's out there, he's 3 for 13. Draymond might be like, "Oh, no, we going this way with it," or vice versa. Poole might be like, "Oh, this dude, he's 3-3-3. Why am I giving him the ball? I'm gonna just keep jacking him." It's gonna spill out into the court at some point. It's just to me, it's a ticking time bomb.
And that's the thing. So I think there's a couple things at play. One, I would hope that they could be professional as athletes, like professional in a professional sport as athletes, where it won't spill into the court. I think one of the things that'll come into play is, like you said, if Jordan Poole's having an off night and Dre looks his way, pump fakes, and goes someplace else because he isn't shooting well.
Yep.
Instead of it's going to turn into a bigger thing, like with the media, with the fans, where they're like, "Oh,
it's footage, right?"
Exactly. So now it's, "Oh, Dre, did you not pass him the ball because he was 3 for 13, or is it because you don't like him? Remember when you punched him in the face? Like obviously you don't like him, so that's why." And it's like unnecessary. It's unnecessary drama for the team, for Draymond, for Jordan Poole, for everybody, quite frankly, for Steph, for Steve Kerr, for Clay. Like, they're going to have to answer questions about it when things aren't going well on the court. So unless 100%. These dudes go 82-0, if they go on a little, if they go on a little 4 or 5 game slide, or Draymond's not playing well, or Jordan Poole's not playing well, it's going to turn into a thing. Oh. But my thing with Draymond is I truly don't believe Golden State wins 4 championships without him. But at the same time, he's walking around as though he's the reason why they won 4 championships. And that's what's so frustrating to me, because he's obviously talented. He's a glue guy, high energy, high IQ. Like, he's a great basketball player. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and say that he's a bum and anything like that. But, like,
there are 3 guys on that roster who can do exactly what he can do and better.
Yeah,
he score the basketball.
He walks around and talks as though he's Steph, Clay, KD, which he's not. He's not. So he's a good piece to a championship team. Exactly. A complimentary piece, I would say, an important piece to a winning team. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I actually heard a comparison today, which was it really made me think. So again, I posed a question to you, rhetorical. I already kind of answered it, but does Golden State win 4 championships without Draymond Green on the team?
To me, I think that they could have found somebody at some point. If they won that first one with Draymond, then the following 3, they could have found somebody or a collection of players to give that team the same thing that Draymond was giving them. Yes, I think they could have got the 4, because the reason they're doing it is
you said so you said that you think they can get the 4, which I agree with.
Yeah,
but with a collection of other players.
Yeah, maybe it takes 2 or 3 or 2 glue guys. One guy who's a defensive specialist, can't really, like a Matisse Thybulle type thing, and then another guy who's a glue scoring guy, like Derek White or something like that, who's just coming off to give you buckets. Or I know it might be a bad example, but guys who, one guy give you this, one guy give you facilitating. You can get a group of guys off the bench to give you what Draymond gives you.
You think they get to 4 though?
I think they get to 4. Okay. You could change his intangibles are high level, but then you got to think about his intangibles are also toxic and crazy because he argues with everybody. They could have 5 if he had a
if he doesn't kick LeBron in the nuts.
Exactly. So that's what you got to think about with Draymond. It's Fair enough. Could they have had 4? Sure, they could have had 5 too without him too.
Fair enough. I'll take that. That. So I think I think that team's core And I mean, Draymond to an extent is part of the core of that team. But I think the core, the Steve Kerrs, the Steph, the Clay, even the Iggy's, I think it's strong enough to where they can kind of weather this storm. Even when they inevitably have a stretch where they lose a few games, and you start to hear the chirps about Draymond and Jordan and things like that. I think they can weather it. At the end of the day, it seems like the Warriors are siding with Jordan Poole and the rest of the team as opposed to Draymond. Do you think Draymond makes it through the season? Do you think he's out at the end of the season? Again, we're one game in, and a lot can change. But are they able to reconcile at this point?
I think if there's any type of another issue, they might look to just move him now because he's in a contract year anyway. I don't think they want to bring him back. I think that they're at next summer they're going to let him walk anyway.
Yeah.
And go to the Lakers most likely, or another contender team. Maybe goes to Phoenix, or I don't know where he goes. But somebody will pick him up. Maybe goes back to Detroit. Detroit could use that type of, a veteran guy who comes in and bangs heads. He's a Michigan guy. Maybe that fits. But true. I know in my opinion, I don't think he is back in Golden State next year. They got a lot of money invested in the youth there. And one day Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody gonna want to get paid too. And you can't have that money tied up in Draymond at this point in his career. So I think that he makes it through the season unless something crazy happens, like, injury and things start to fall apart for them and that, or something else with him and another teammate starts happening. Yeah. They cannot have him disrupting the juju over there anymore, for lack of a better word.
Got you. I'm with you. I think he does make it through the season. It doesn't seem like they're overly interested in trying to bring him back. So it feels like the last. Knows that too. Yeah, I think this is the last hurrah for like that core. Yeah. And Draymond's out at the end of the season, and we'll see what the young players on that team, how they grow, how they develop, how they mesh with the Stephs, the Clays. And obviously that'll
it will forever, because Steph and Clay have interchangeable skills. Their skill set can play in any generation. Steph and Clay could have played in the 70s. They will be able to play in the 2030s, because both of them, honestly, Steph could honestly play 8 more years. Just even if he turns into just a spot shooter later in his
absolutely
career, you could run him off screens, and as long as he can still get that thing up like this, he's gonna be good in the league. And Clay, same thing. He's gonna be a set shooter in 2 or 3 years. Yeah. So if he isn't already. So
I mean, we saw
play anyway.
Yeah, we saw what Ray Allen did. Ray Allen, with the Heat, like he was. I mean, even with Boston a little bit, like he wasn't the dynamic scorer that he was with Milwaukee. No. He wasn't dunking on people. Like, he was running around screens. You get him open, he's going to knock it down. And absolutely, I could see the both of them doing that for a very long time.
100%. Brian praying they let him out of it. Just come on down here to LA stuff. Draymond down here. Draymond, he's got to find his skill, though, that's going to extend his career. Because as of right now, he's like 3 years left in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because unless he learns how to shoot a corner three at a high level, at least high 30s, like give me high 30s from the corner. Yeah. And he's going to be able to rebound, and he's going to be able to pass. But you got to be able to, like, if Greg Williams could do it, my boy, you could do it.
Yeah. And I mean, all those things, Draymond's not a great defender. I mean, he's, he can
scrappy.
He's definitely a pest.
Agitator.
Yes, that's exactly. But I wouldn't call him a lockdown defender. So yeah, if he's not scoring in a time in the league where points are paramount, you've either got to be able to stop people from scoring, or you've got to be able to score, and he doesn't do either one of those.
They're not putting in rules changes to make it easier on defenders either.
Exactly.
They're taking away take fouls and all that stuff. Like, they want dudes blowing by you, and that's exactly what they're going to start doing. So he's got to find that skill, that because you cannot rah-rah and bark to the refs and other players on the other team your way to a 17-year career. You're not going to be able to do it. If Carmelo can't be out here right now, then you're in trouble. You need to find yourself something.
We need to get Carmelo in the league because you're not happy about him.
I'm upset. You know he's one of my favorite players of all time. I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
Yeah, we gotta get him on somebody's team. I'm with you. He can score. He can still play. Like there's no reason that he should not be on. You saw that
Laker bench last night. You know they could have at least Carmelo. Wasn't there Winion Gabriel? Get out of here, bro. The only player on that whole Lakers bench that can play is Kendrick Nunn. There's one player they got to play. And y'all let Melo out here hanging out at Lifetime Sports, shooting. Like, come on, man. Get my boy out there, bro. Get my boy out there.
He'll be on a team at some point this year. I truly do believe that.
And it's not even about the defense or the selfishness, bro. Like, he had his best defensive rating ever in his career last year.
Yeah.
Like, so he's buying it. He wants to win. That tells you. Get him in Milwaukee or something. Get him somewhere. Get him to a real contender. I hope he go to, I don't know where he can go.
I would like to see him in. I would love to see him in Milwaukee. Actually, I think he'd fit in very well in that second unit. Yeah,
he was in there like. I love it.
So, with the season tipping off soon. No, some games already started. About 7:50 right now.
Grizzlies underway right now.
Yeah, we really don't care about the Knicks like that, but
we do.
I've got a storyline for you. I'm hoping you have one for me to look out for this season, and I want you to give me. We haven't talked about this, so I just want to get your feedback as to what you think, like your initial thoughts, your feelings on this. One of my storylines this year is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've got an enormous front court with Rudy Gobert. They've got Cat. If you want to throw in Ant-Man, you could throw him in there too. Is that a team? It's just not a traditional. Not even traditional. It's not a new age like lineup. Do you think they can thrive this season in the West?
I think so, because I think that they have. It's unique. Cat's kind of going more stretch four. He's been shooting more threes. He's not the type of defender on the back end that you're getting when you get Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, there's no offensive expectation that they have for him.
None.
He's there to back up those guys who aren't a strong defensive team. So they really just traded Pat Bev, who was on the front end of that defense, anchoring it and changed them last year. Until now, we're going to protect the rim. And, they have the athleticism on the front end to stay in front of guys. And if not, you go running into, the Eiffel Tower or Stifle Tower. So that I think it can work, because Rudy Gobert is not going to be in the way. And he can just, and Cat can play from that 10 to 15 foot away from the basket. And he can make mid-rangers. He can shoot outside and make threes. So I think that the spacing won't be an issue. I think that they can make it work.
So my thing is, Rudy Gobert stinks, man. Like, he's not, like you said, he's not a great defender either.
He blocks shots. And he just the 7-2 of being there. His presence alone makes it so that teams aren't attacking the basket the same way.
So I'm with you. Yes. Again, if you're 7 foot with a 9 foot wingspan or whatever, I agree. Like, guys are going to be hesitant to go into the paint. But when you're playing against a team like the Warriors or the Hawks,
they're in trouble.
Or anybody with ball handlers, strong ball handlers, even like a Luka, like, all they're going to do is switch, pull him out of the paint, and then he can't stay in front of anybody. So at that point, it's just neutral, and he doesn't give you any offense. So to me, like, he won Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not a great defender in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't take Rudy Gobert and say, all right, you go stop LeBron James today. Like that
he can't defend all 5 positions.
All he can do is sit in the paint. He's not guarding anybody outside of the paint.
Yeah,
so
exactly. If you're gonna switch on him outside, then you might be where you want to be. Like as a guard. If I'm like a guard with some handle, I want to switch on, like, get me Rudy Gobert. I have him crossed up, ankles all hurting.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see how that works out. I mean, Minnesota was better than we thought they would be last year. They weren't great, but they were better than we thought they'd be. I just don't know if Rudy Gobert like moves the needle for that squad, in my opinion. You know?
I agree. So yeah, that's really where I'm at on that. I feel like he's, they're gonna run a lot of high pick and roll with D'Angelo Russell and these guys. So he's gonna be out of, at the top of the key a lot, and Cat will be corner, wing to block area. They'll figure out a way to space it out, and I think that's going to work. I don't think that they're going to get a championship, and that's quite a bit to give up.
Either.
Yeah,
I mean, they won the championship last year, didn't they?
As Pat Bev. He was hyped though off that win, man.
Yeah,
off that play of victory.
I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, making the playoffs, my boys, we made the playoffs. You got to get excited. And so,
man, I'm going to get hyped if the Knicks make the playoffs.
The Knicks are going to make the playoffs, bro. As much as I talk about them, they're going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think the bottom half East still get there. But that's not my storyline to watch. My storyline to watch is actually about the team they're playing right now. Memphis. Last year were the Hunters. They were out here trying to put their name on the street, trying to tell everybody who they were. They were the new kids on the block. This year, they're 2 seed last year. Everybody know about them now.
Yes.
How physical are they going to be with Ja Morant? Now that everybody knows his game, they know how he likes to play. Can he survive that? What about Jaren Jackson Jr.? Does he improve his game and take his game to the next level? That is what I want to see. Are the Memphis Grizzlies real or not? Are they like going to be back at that 2 to 3 seed area in the West, at the top? Or are they going to regress a little bit and be scrapping, clawing with the Lakers, maybe trying to figure out a way to get into the playoffs? That's my storyline to watch.
I don't think they're
going to. It's different, to go from Hunter to being hunted. When teams are coming to their building every time, giving you their best game, like when you get the best fight every night, it's different. The pace comes different then.
Absolutely. And I think to be the 2 seed, you don't have much room to improve. You know what I'm saying? So I think almost by default, they're going to be a little bit worse than they were last year. But I think you couple it with what you just said, and that they're being hunted now by all these teams in the league. They're gonna get everybody's best shot. They've got a bullseye. Ja was gritty and all over the place. People don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
They don't like that.
So I think they're gonna regress some. It's not like they're gonna drop out of the playoffs, but they're probably gonna be like middle of the pack.
5, 6,
But again, I think things just kind of even out unless you're an elite team. I don't think they're an elite team yet. They have a very good roster. Ja's obviously a great player. But as of right now, I think the West is going to kind of even out where they were great last year. They're going to come back to earth a little bit, but you're going to get the Denvers, you're going to get the Clippers who had down years, and they're going to, so they're not going to be bad. I just don't think, to your point, they're being hunted now. So I think they're going to come back to earth a little bit.
That different pressure, man. When them teams start coming up, when every night you got somebody coming for your throat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Different pressure. Gotta see if I want to see if I put him in my top 10 NBA players because I truly do believe that he's there now. Like,
I think you had him 10, right?
I had him at 10. Yeah, like to me, he's like that. The explosive play, what he did for that team last year, most improved player. But I mean, he's averaging high 20s. He's grabbing rebounds. He's pushing. His game. I really tried with that list to look at the most unique games. Like who had the most unique game, and what does that do for the team that they're on?
I like it, and I'm with you. I think 10 is a fair rating. Could he be a little lower? Yeah. Or, you can argue that he could be a little bit lower. You could probably argue that he could be a little bit higher too. He doesn't shoot the ball great, but he's working on it. And if he can start shooting consistently to go along with how he attacks the rim and how he gets out in transition, he's going to be very tough to guard. And I mean, I think that things like that would really play a role in where they end up in the Western hierarchy,
you know what I'm saying? Standings wise, yeah. Yeah, man. That's my storyline to watch, because I think that they were such a unique team, and they were kind of the team last year that just came out of nowhere. Like, you knew that, all right, they got some good young guys, but damn, they're here beating everybody. It was like, they had 50-some wins, and you're like, okay.
It was one of those things where it's like, all right, like, they're good, but at some point they got to lose, right? And it was just every week they got to lose, right? They can't be. They can't beat Golden State, right? Nope. Now they can't beat Milwaukee, right? No, all right. It was just like it just kept on going. Yeah.
It brought back that feel with Depot and Marcus Gasol days of those grinders. I like
grindhouse.
Team. Like, they got Steven Adams, like, like a grindhouse. Yeah, they brought back that grittiness. I like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hope they lose tonight, though.
And so I know you need to get to your boys. I know you need to get you watch every minute of every game. You got to get to the Knicks. So let's wrap this up. Let's get our finals predictions. We'll go East and West back and forth. You want to start? You want me to start?
So I'm going out. So out of the East. I'll give you both of them, actually. Or if you want to go East and West back and forth?
Yeah.
So for the East, I'm going to go East. All right, Milwaukee, I think they get back this year. Of course, it's dependent on health. But
of course,
Giannis is the best player in the world now. They were this close to getting there last year already without Middleton. I think Drew Holiday is one of the most unique and talented defenders in the league. That's a guy who should be Defensive Player of the Year right there. Instead of giving it to Rudy Gobert every year. That's a guy who should be Defensive Player of the Year. He truly stands up to every single assignment. I love Milwaukee to make it out of the East.
So I really want to believe that the Nets are going to pull it together. You got Kyrie, you got KD, you got Ben Simmons, but who knows how that team comes together is really the issue at the end of the day.
Exactly.
There's just too many ifs, like if KD is healthy, if Kyrie is invested, if Ben Simmons can make a layup, like
if he's even playing basketball.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of ifs with that team. So could they do it? Yes, but until we get going, we're not really going to know. I'm with you. I feel like it's a cop-out, kind of a trendy pick, but Milwaukee has arguably, I know you had Giannis number one in your player list, arguably the best player in the league. And one person you didn't mention is Joe Ingles. I love that pickup of Joe Ingles. So,
that's an outstanding pickup. Outstanding pickup. I said that's an outstanding pickup.
Yeah, man. So I think Joe Ingles, Giannis, Middleton, like everybody that you mentioned, for all the reasons that you said, I feel like it's a very, like a cop-out answer, but I do believe Milwaukee makes it this year. Yeah. Second time in 3 years, and they go for the championship.
Look, there's a bunch of teams that'll challenge, man. Like Boston will challenge. Philly, I think, will turn it around and will challenge. Brooklyn, they will challenge. Even if they get into a second-round series with Brooklyn or with Milwaukee, I expect that thing to go 6-7 games.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to win it, but I expect them to go 6-7 games. Like, Brooklyn's going to challenge. So there is competition. We still don't even know about Atlanta. They were in the conference finals 2 years ago. That's crazy. Yep. But, we still don't know. They added DeJounte Murray. There's, a lot of question marks there to see. There's teams that will challenge.
Miami was a 1 seed last year.
Yeah, Miami
Cleveland was in the playoffs. They got Donovan Mitchell.
About Miami. We haven't even said Miami at all. This whole show. So, I mean, like, that's what I mean. Like, there's teams that are going to be there. To me, it's just that none of those teams have a player that could stop Giannis.
At
the end of the day, when push comes to shove, that is what I just think that he is the force that will drive them to the finals.
Yes, I'm with you. I agree. So what do you think about the West? I feel like we're not going to have the same team in the West. So I'll let you go first.
Bro, I talked about it. We were talking about it right at the beginning of the show. They're going back, bro. The Golden State Warriors. I got Bucks Warriors. The Warriors are going back. They're playing a beautiful brand of basketball. More teams should play like this, but they don't or can't. I think everybody can play like this. That's the thing about it. Every team can play like the Warriors. Nobody is selfless enough to actually play like that. The thing about it is that their two best players are selfless players that don't need the ball. Steph only need the ball to catch that thing and shoot it. That's it. He'll just be like, I'm in, I'm out, off the shoulder, got me. And that's it. It's crazy. And then, he lets those other guys, he lets everybody else run their ISOs and do all that. Steph's not going to cross you up and hit Steph. Like, he's not going to do it like that. He's going to kill you in a whole nother way. And so will Clay, and so will Jordan Poole, and so Andrew Wiggins could give you 25 plus in the night. Wiseman, who knows what Wiseman will be? This is year 3 for him. Who knows what he will be? We
do have to figure out what he's going to be, but I agree.
Like, he could end up being something crazy. They still got Kevon Looney there, who is like a sneaky, huge piece for them. He's been there for almost all the championships. So, look, it's Warriors Bucks. That's what I got. And if anything, the only thing that you can do to stop the Bucks, I think, is outscore them. And that's a tough assignment for Drew Holiday and Ronnie Brown chasing Steph.
Which is crazy because I think not last year, the year before, I think they were averaging almost 120 points a game. So it's not, you know what I'm saying?
It's not like they don't score too. Yeah, they score too.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man.
So I love the talent on this team, but it's how far they go is going to rely solely on how healthy they are.
Yeah,
the Denver Nuggets.
I knew you were gonna say Denver because I had them in my head. I was about to say it, when I was like, I like their threat. I said it before. They're a threat. All in health, though. I took the safe pick for a team that was already there.
Yeah, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. If they're we've seen glimpses of Michael Porter Jr. Obviously, his back has been in shambles since Missouri, but when he's on the court and he's healthy, you see why Denver took a flyer on him to bring him in. If he can be healthy. If Jamal Murray, progresses throughout the season, gets healthier, obviously you have the back-to-back MVP and the Joker. You mentioned Bones Highland. Also, they picked up KCP. They got Ish Smith. And I truly feel like people forgot just how magical that run Jamal Murray had in the bubble. So
they were about to be in the finals that year.
Yes.
If not for the AD, Kobe. If not for that, they in there.
So
that might have changed that whole series. They win that game.
100%.
That was a game 2, I think. I want to say.
I'm not sure.
I forget what it was, but it was like a game that it was the game to tie. They lost game 1, I think. And I think it was the game 2. They would have been down 0-2 to Lakers.
Yeah. So I feel like that, it's a long shot for sure. But I really like I said, I really like the talent of that team. And when you have the back-to-back MVP and he's kind of been carrying that team for the last couple of years, and you bring in pieces to, help him and help that squad, I wouldn't put it past them to really make a run. And like we mentioned earlier in the show, they are legitimate contenders if everybody's healthy. So you've got Milwaukee and Golden State. I've got Milwaukee and Denver. I'm excited for this season, bro. It felt
basketball is back.
It feels like the season just ended and we're back already. So
no, listen, I'm a Knicks fan. Since April has felt like forever. Like April was forever ago, and that's when the season ended for me. I was just watching basketball after that.
Bro, if anybody follows this man on social media, anything that comes up that's Nick related, I know that this man has either liked it, retweeted it, or responded to it. So if you're following him, just make sure to be aware that you're just gonna get flooded with Nick stuff all season, all off season. It don't matter.
Once I get off here, I'm right on Twitter. The game looking good right now.
All right, man. Yo, it's been fun. It's gonna this is the first one. Sean will jump in and out for those who have been following us for the last couple of years. Sean will jump in and out at times, but for the most part, it's going to be it's going to be a John and Cash show. So we are going to get into it. Every week, we're going to have a new episode for y'all. If there's any questions or anything that you guys want us to talk about, let us know. But really, we're just, we're happy basketball is back. We're going to have some fun this year and just talk some hoops.
Absolutely, man. I feel like this is going to be one of the most competitive years in the NBA's history. I feel like there's so much we got to talk about, and I really can't wait to get into it.
Let's do it. Yo, always love, man. We'll be in touch soon. And let's get it. Designated report, heat check.
We gone.